Welcome back. I want to try something new today. I'd like to use an analogy to describe an investment idea. I'm sorry, I do that all the time. I love analogies because they're so helpful in conveying a lot of information quickly and relate it to something you know. So I've got an excellent one. I've really been looking forward to sharing this with you. The Invisible Man. Have you ever read the story? H.G. Wells, classic. Well, I just had the opportunity the other day. I got it on an Audible, an audio book, and downloaded it to my little MP3 player and put headphones on, and while I'm exercising, I listen to a book. It's pretty cool. So I'm finally getting some time to quote-unquote read, which is really nice. Pleasure reading, not work-related. So my analogy is using the Invisible Man from the story. And this occurred to me as a great analogy about investing when I met with a recent couple, and they described their situation. It was very interesting. They said they'd been investing their own money since the 90s, and they said, you know, we need some help because we invest, we've been doing it, we like it, we don't mind doing it, and we do okay for a while, but then all of a sudden, it's like we get just bonked in the head by some unseen market force, and we end up going, you know, one step forward, six backwards. And they're very frustrated, and a very emotional process or impact on them. It created a stress, and they would feel like they were maybe then reacting at the wrong time or making a decision in the wrong way and not able to stick with it. They felt like they were one of those whack-a-moles where every time they stuck their head out of the hole, somebody whacked them in the head, and it just created a problem for them. So when I was talking to them, I said, well, you know, it sounds like you're fighting the invisible man. And then, of course, I proceeded to tell them what I just told you about it, relating it to the book. And in the story, I won't spoil it for you if you're going to heed my advice. It's a great book, by the way. If you haven't ever had a chance to read it, please do. It's a wonderful story, especially if you have it read to you on an Audible. You get to hear all the different accents. It's very interesting. But in the story, there's a guy named Griffin. And Griffin is invisible. And I'll leave it at that. And that invisibility gives him an enormous advantage over his adversaries. He can sneak up on them and attack them at will, and they don't see it coming. So can you imagine? Okay, let's shift it. You're invisible, and you can sneak up, and it's not really fair, is it? I mean, you could put one right on somebody's nose, and they wouldn't see it coming. Now, because of that, that's a great analogy for what may happen in the market. And that was this couple's experience, that they felt like they were being attacked by an invisible man. And so with that, the first thing to think about is, okay, well, if that's a good analogy for the market and investing, what to do? Well, let's continue the analogy. So let's say there really is an invisible man out there on the loose, and you can take steps to protect yourself. And the same steps can apply to investing. So here they are. Number one, you can sequester yourself. If there's a madman on the loose, don't go for a walk in the park, okay? Don't go, I think I'll go for a walk out in the middle of the night and just stroll around. We're not going to do that, right? So you can do the same thing with your investments by sequestering yourself. If there is a known risk, you know, if you are looking to use your money for something and there is a lot of risk in the market, you know, if the market gets very volatile and you know you're going to need to use the money for a purchase or an expenditure, or you need it for income, real stretch here, ready? Don't put it in the market. Don't put yourself at risk. Don't go for the walk in the financial park when it's dangerous if you know that you can't be there. Now, if you're in a tank and you want to drive through the park, fine, you're protected. But you know, you have to make sure you've got yourself protected from what may come, that unseen assailant. And the problem is you don't know it's coming until it hits you. Okay, so that's the first thing you can do. Now, number two, you've got to take steps to kind of even the game or even the odds. So if I knew there was this invisible guy out there, what would I do? Well, put on some heat-sensing goggles and maybe carry a can of spray paint. So I could see the heat signature of my adversary, And then I could also spray the paint, and of course it hits him, it's going to make him visible. So that's one way to know what's there, what's coming. Well, you can do the same thing with your investments. Take steps to monitor what you've got. Know what you've got. If you don't know what you have, well, then it may sneak up and attack you or get you or hurt you. You know, get a second opinion if you're not sure. I had a couple in the other day that said, you know, our advisor says that we are in a fairly conservative portfolio. 30 seconds, 30 seconds it took me. And I did a full analysis, but just 30 seconds looking at their statement said, you do not have a conservative portfolio. 6 stocks represented 37%. I got the numbers memorized because it was so profound. 6 stocks, 37% of their portfolio. And ain't no way, no how that that is conservative. And then we went a little deeper. I analyzed the portfolio. Heavy in stocks is not conservative. So they took that step, and you can too. And that's step number 2. Step number 3, make observations. If I was concerned about an invisible man sneaking up on me, well, I wouldn't fumble around and make a bunch of noise. I would sit still. I would, if I can't see him, I'm close my eyes, right? Not be distracted. Open my ears. Or look for other signs. Maybe keep my eyes open. Look for footprints or interaction of that invisible man with other objects. But listen, use my senses, all of them. Do the same thing with your investments. Make observations. Pay attention. Number 4, there's safety in numbers. If we're going to go after the invisible man or protect ourselves from the invisible man, you know, a group of 10 people is going to be a lot safer than one person. One person out alone, there's risk. 10 people, well, you can help each other. You are diversified, dare I say. So do the same with your investments. Maybe don't put all your money into one stock. Please don't do that, by the way. But put it into maybe a diversified investment fund, a mutual fund, a no-love fund. Diversify your money. These are the kinds of things to do to protect yourself from that unseen attacker. The key thing with all of this is that you don't know it's coming. Now, you can know that it's not coming, not to twist the words around or make it confusing, but you can know that you don't know. And based on that, you can make choices. I could give you 100 other analogies of things that I don't know and relate it to this situation. I don't know about my bike. I've got a road bike. I go out and I ride on the road and I really enjoy it. But when it comes to the gears and the way the crank works and the internal mechanism for it or what causes it to shift better or not as well, I think it has something to do with the cables and how tight or loose, but I don't know. So I take it to a bike shop that does a great job. I don't know that, but I know that I don't know that, so I don't mess with it. So you can do the same thing. You don't have to be a financial expert to have investments and to make sure that they're done right. Get help if you need it. And if you do that, it's coming. Here it is. You'll plan stronger. Do it. It'll work.